Hi, my name is Aubrey, and I'm going to share my experience with Choice One and becoming a mother. When I was 18, I met my son's father at college, and we started a very toxic relationship that lasted until I gave birth to my son. About 3 years or 3 months into our relationship, I moved in with my son's father, and he had a drug problem. He was selling drugs and using drugs, and being young at 18, I thought I could fix him. So I stayed with him in that relationship, and I tried to do school and be with him, but I didn't get the hang of it until my second year going to school, and that's when I found out I was pregnant. And I really did not want to be pregnant. I didn't see how I could have a future having a child and trying to do school. I was so discouraged. I was not happy about it. I didn't want to be with my son's father. I didn't want him to be the father of my child. But because I was raised with a lot of Christian influence, my aunt, my mom, my grandma had really strong beliefs in God. I just knew that I had to have this child. I knew that even when I first found out I was pregnant, I knew that it was a child. It was life inside of me, so that I had to have my child. So I didn't tell anyone that I was pregnant until I was like 5 months pregnant. I almost didn't want to accept that reality. It was really hard for me. And at this point, I'm living with my son's father. I've been living with him. And one day I just come home to visit my parents, and my mom was telling me about Choice One. She was like, my friend told me about this place where you can get support and help, and I was really hesitant. I didn't want to do it. I was embarrassed. I didn't want to feel that way or have my business out there. But my mom, she made me do it, and I'm very thankful that she did. The woman that I spoke to was she was so compassionate, and I felt very comfortable. I didn't feel embarrassed or judged or anything. So we set up a meeting to come, and I came to Choice One. I think I was 6 months pregnant, and I got some supplies, and I remember that was when I started getting excited that I was gonna have a baby. They gave me some baby clothes, and I was like, oh my goodness, I do remember that made it very real to me. So I started to get a little excited, and fast forward, I have my child, and I have my son Julian in April 2015, and I stay with my son's father for until Julian's 3 months old. The situation was getting very bad, and I thought that my son's father would have had the sense to not continue what he was doing with the baby. It was hard for me to believe that the situation was even happening, that he was still using drugs, selling drugs. It was very hard for me to accept, but I had to for my son. I was like, this just isn't safe. We cannot continue this. And I remember one day just praying on my knees, and I never did that before. But I was like, okay, I'm gonna get on my knees and talk to God. And I remember saying, if you are who you say you are, God, then I know that you can take us out of this situation. And I'm gonna trust you, and you're gonna take us from this. You're gonna protect us. So that day, God took us out of there. He really protected us. He did. And from there, I started to seek God. I wanted to seek God. And I just remember it was a really hard time, even as toxic as the relationship was, it was very hard to separate from it. It was a harsh reality that my son's father continued to choose that life, and me now just take all the responsibility for this child. And I needed support, and I remember my mom telling me about, reminding me, well, Choice One has the free counseling. So I decided, okay, I'm gonna set up an appointment. And I set up an appointment with a counselor, Stacy, who was amazing. I feel like we connected. We had similarities. She was a single mom. She had a son. Yeah, I felt like a lot of times there were things that I didn't have to even explain to her. She just understood, and I knew that she understood. And I remember I very low key mentioned something about school, and she was like, "Oh, well, you know, Choice One has this scholarship to go back to school," and I thought, that's nice, you know, like, sounds like a great thing, but never in my wildest dreams did I imagine that would happen for me. So, you know, I didn't take it too seriously because I was like, well, that would just never happen. And I had settled in my mind, like, okay, I'm gonna be all about my son. You know, he's number one. I'll take a back seat. I'm not gonna open my eyes to any opportunity like that. So, she kept pushing me to do that, and craziest thing, it happened. You know, I'm in school now. It's been really amazing. I look back now and I'm like, God, this is you working it out in ways that I never would have imagined. This is what happens, or like, trusting God, He really does work things out. And yeah, so I'm in school now. I'm a sophomore. It's my second year. It's just been amazing. It's changed my life completely. You know, so